Could you introduce yourself, who you are, where you're from, and how long you've been involved in real estate?
I'm Neal from Littleton, Denver area. Been involved in real estate, supporting real estate for over 30 years in one function or another. Most recently out of title insurance, 20 years plus. Before that I was a QI, doing 1031 exchanges. I was in the energy business, working with builders, developers, realtors, creating various energy marketing programs. I've been part of Mile High Exchanger since '99.
Awesome. So real quick, because you mentioned it, so what does QI, what does QI stand for, and what is its function?
The QI is qualified intermediary. It's a 1031 accommodator. So it's the people that you would place the money with when you're selling a property. As it's being relinquished, they hold the money until you have a replacement property, and then they fund it.
Okay. It's kind of like in escrow, kind of.
It is basically kind of like escrow.
In your words, what's the difference between conventional brokerage and exchanging? What you guys do here?
Conventional brokerage is much more kind of inventory brokerage. It's, you have let's say in residential, you have someone who wants to sell their home, you sell their home, and then you give them a bottle of wine at closing table and tell them thank you and ask them if they have anybody else they refer you to, and then you go find another client. Here, with exchanging, it's much more. Of course, it can be residential. I mentioned residential. If it's investment property, if it's investment owned, it could be residential. Oftentimes, it's commercial. It's much more of that. It's much more of a relationship-based service. As they say, client counseling, but really getting to understand motivations. Just like you hear that from all these other, seasoned brokers. It's about the motivations. It's more about I don't want to say the art of the deal, but it's about really awareness of the client, more so than it's just about the home or the building that they're selling. It's really getting to know the client.
Cool. So, with the way that these people approach it, do you think real estate is an art form?
Sure, there's an art to it. Absolutely. Yeah.
And do you think that there's more benefits to the client and the broker when exchanging is brought in, or when is exchanging important?
Well, I will tell you from being on a title side, I've had clients tell me as sometimes the brokers have stepped out of the room for a phone call or a break, whatever, and they're still finalizing, the closing docs. I've had clients tell me this broker, this particular person, guy, gal, is the best they've ever worked with because of the way that they were counseling them. Some property owners that have been doing it for many years that have used traditional realtors in the past, and now working with a good exchanger that's really counseling them through their haves and wants, and in property and life in general. Sometimes they really appreciate that relationship.
Do you think there's a bigger impact for the client?
Sure, absolutely.
Do you think that you could call these people problem solvers?
Yeah, I would. Yep.
Why does exchanging help solve problems more than conventional brokerage?
Because it's looking at more solutions than just answers. Sometimes you don't have the answers, so you try to find various solutions, and it just so happens to be some of those solutions might turn into the right answer. So, but you may not know that up front if you're not. It depends how you're focused.
Okay, and so go over what counseling is from your perspective, and just in general.
I'd say counseling is really setting the property aside first really getting to know who you're working with, because you're working with a person. You're not just working with their money. Find out who they are, kind of what makes them tick, what gets them excited, what aggravates them, all around, get to know the person, build that relationship. You have to build that level of trust to be able to get some people to share more information than they might with others. And then ultimately find out what it is that they want to do with that property or those properties, or just it might be more of answering their financial situation. Maybe they're getting pressure from maybe they have a number of properties and they're getting pressure from, let's just hypothetically say, from their children. They want some cash. Well, it might be really better served to keep the properties and do something creative on the financing element, bring some cash into the family if that's what the family wants, and still hold the properties and be able to work out some sort of agreement where you got cash today but you still have the properties tomorrow.
What kind of people? What's the culture like here?
I think it's quite positive in a sense that it's about the study, it's about learning, it's about hearing other experiences. So I think it's a real dynamic culture in the sense that regardless of how long someone's been in the industry, they always know that there's something they might be learning tomorrow. So it's that culture of I want to learn and I want to teach, both.
Awesome. And if I was a broker trying to join the meeting, do you think that it's welcoming?
I think so. Yeah. If
right.
it's not,
Oh, that doesn't.
if it's not, we need to do something about it. As a group, we should all make it welcoming. I think it is. Feels that way to me.
All right, and I have one more question for you.
Sure.
Do you like your job?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's my job's changed here recently due to shutdown of a company due to technology. They kind of phased me out of what I was doing, and now I'm doing this, and I'm enjoying it. I've been a part of real estate for a long time, so now it's my chance to prove myself here.